Okay, everybody, I'd like to welcome you to the May Downtown Development Authority meeting for Romeo. If you'd stand and say the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sound like a frog.
Lisa, can you do a roll call, please?
Carr? Malzahn?
Here.
Parker?
Yeah.
Rose?
Here.
Hayes?
Here.
Brandt?
Here.
Humphries?
Yes,
Poznanski? Here. Stevens?
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. Next is public forum. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to address the board?
Hi, I'm Nicole Chaika, as most of you know, and this is Mike Victor from Jim Reel's dealership in Washington, and we are working on a Jeep night together. The plan is for it to be the second Tuesday of every month, and we have a funding request to see if you might be interested in helping us. Maybe we'd like to do an over-the-road banner or some sort of way to advertise what's coming, similar to what we do for bike night. We have the over-the-road banner for bike night. There's the Mayfest banner up right now, so that will be going up after that one comes down, and then we're hoping to do the Jeep night on the north end of town.
Is it for the whole summer, or?
Yeah, it'll be June, July, August, September, October, so 5 months.
So what will Jeep night entail?
Pardon?
What will Jeep night entail? What is Jeep night?
It will be
What's she
similar to
calling
bike
it?
night, where we're
Okay.
getting groups
What
of
is she
people
calling it?
together.
Just a matter of getting a bunch of Jeeps, people, like-minded people, individuals that own Jeeps, and getting together, meet and greet, saying hello, and reaching out to customers and, friends, family, whoever, businesses. I've been with the company for 9 years, and then I just transferred up here in January. So at the 14-Mile Road store, the Warren store, we would do a bunch of cider mill. We would do cider mill events. We would do sponsors for football games, homecomings, and stuff like that. So Jeep night, then we can hold it, and it's a lot of fun. And
Bring
is there-
different people to town, hopefully
Yeah.
to frequent the businesses.
Somebody
Is there
actually
gonna
came
be
to
a
us, do you remember that?
certain area where you're gonna try to get Jeeps parking like you do with bikes? They kind of all line up. Is there?
We have the permit, for special event permit for the Village of Romeo, to ask if we could do the parking on Main, similar to bike night.
Okay.
And then also, there's the parking lot on Bailey Street, and then we're gonna talk to the bank, the People's Driven Credit Union now, and see if they would allow us, after they're closed, to use the parking lot there as well. And there is Ace, it's called, right, on Powell Road.
yeah, Ace Engineering.
They do parts and things like that for Jeep, aftermarket parts and stuff for Jeeps. So we want to try and include as many local businesses as possible.
Whether anybody realizes it or not, the PNC parking is privately owned.
Different background.
Period. The PNC actually owns,
He wasn't on the
I know he wasn't, but I'm pointing it out to Nikki, and most people don't know, it's actually owned by PNC. All of the parking it stretches along my building all the way to past Carl's. I think it ends at,
I think it's past the dance studio.
I think it
Right.
goes to,
Are you suggesting we could ask them to?
I can't tell you, you can't call and
Right.
ask them. I'm merely pointing out to you, you may not realize there's another large private
Excellent.
parking lot that's in the heart of the area of what you're talking about. You said you were looking for some funding. Did you have an idea in mind?
Well, when we did the bike night banner in the past, and it's been several years since we did the bike night banner, but we did the mesh one so that the wind
Right.
could get through it. And I believe it was $700, and of course it cost to take it up and down. But we were gonna request $500, just something to help us with getting it started. We realized that we didn't want to act with a larger amount.
Have you filled
Fill
out
out
the
the
funding
funding?
request?
Yeah,
Do we have it here?
We have it right
I
here.
have it here. I
Oh,
brought it with
okay,
me.
okay, gotcha. No, yeah, that's,
It's like,
that's
I
fine.
didn't see it.
You want?
Yeah, that would be, if you wanna,
You can give it to Lisa over here.
We were actually approached by a Jeep club not too long ago. Do you remember how many
Last
years
year.
ago that was?
it's like 2 years ago, maybe?
Last year or the previous year, we were
Yeah.
approached by there are other gearhead crazies out there that have other cars, like Corvettes and whatever. And it's, it's a great idea for
Can't hear.
downtown.
Right, look how many
Thank
cars
you.
just go down by Salvation Army, right, on what, that's a random
Right.
night too, I just drive by and they have their own little car show.
Is it inappropriate for a motion on this?
During public forum?
I would think you'd have to add it to the agenda.
We have to add it to the agenda.
Yeah, now that we have that, we
Yeah.
can add it to the, we haven't done the approval
No,
of the
not yet.
agenda, so
No, I
that'll
don't
work.
We haven't
think we
approved
did.
it yet.
We're under public forum, on the
Okay.
second one.
So we can amend the agenda?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
I want to say 500 is what we did at Bike Night too. It just sounds familiar.
It's been quite a few years, I can't
I
remember.
know. It just sounds like
So the funding
what I would have
request.
thought.
So Nikki, give us 15 minutes.
Unless you have anything else to add, right, I don't know.
We're gonna have a long night tonight.
If I can just say thank you to both of you, this is the type of, businesses that are out there, that are around us, that are taking, the initiative to come up with ideas and projects and events, and that's exactly what we need. Thank you. I mean, it sounds fantastic.
Thank you for considering it, considering the reels, they're new to the area, and we're heavily involved everywhere else, so, like to be involved here and bring business and good things and be
Yep.
involved with the village and everything, in the area, so.
Sounds great.
I wish there was a way to get as many Jeeps in those parking spaces,
Well-
as you can motorcycles.
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
but-
I know. Because it looks mighty impressive on a Thursday night when they're
Yeah.
all lined up there.
When I was asking what's the plan, ideally like angled parking of all the Jeeps like the bikes do, but you can't do that, so
Right.
you need more parking areas, but I think
But if we
it's
spread
kind
it
of the
out
type
Yeah,
of
there
thing.
used to be
anyway,
angle
because it could
parking when I
hold all
first moved
businesses
here.
Oh.
throughout town instead of just.
No,
that one.
Yeah, by spreading it out,
Absolutely.
I like the idea of
Absolutely.
spreading it out.
Yeah, if it's the type of thing whereas if you build it, people will come, so it'll get started and it'll, I'm sure, build from there. It's a great
And it's a
idea.
reoccurring event. I know sometimes the events that are planned are affected by weather. When there's something that happens multiple times, that gives better chances for success, I feel.
So bike night is on Thursday. What night would this be?
Tuesday.
Tuesdays? Tuesdays, okay.
And is there, until when? I mean, is there a month?
Through October, I think.
Through
right?
October?
As long as the weather's good.
Yeah, and we
Sec-
looked at time-wise, like starting around 6 o'clock till, probably I think it was 9:30, 10 o'clock, usually when everybody,
Ready to go to work the next day.
How
Second
can we, help
Tuesday.
spread the word
Oh,
about
yes,
it too?
We did also talk with Deacon Mike, who does the blessing for the bike night. He is also interested and willing to do a blessing for Jeep Night as long as we get the okay from everyone.
Okay.
Do you have an advertising budget to let people know that this is going to happen? Maybe in a Jeep magazine or something?
We're working on that through the dealership. There's a lot of avenues, and then of course through the other companies that he works with in social media.
And get the Jeep dealers involved? I mean, we've got one right here in town.
That's him.
He's right here.
That's who he is.
Oh, that's,
Well, that worked.
see, I'm giving you,
Okay, well, thank you for bringing that before us. We will add it to our agenda, so we will have a decision for you this evening, okay?
oh, thank you.
Okay. Do I have an approval of the agenda?
We need to amend it to include the funding request for Jeep Night. So let's amend the agenda
Support.
to recognize that. We can put that in as the next item.
New business?
Under new
Well, ahead
business.
of new business.
Oh, there's a spot for funding requests.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Is that a motion?
That was a motion.
And support, I
I
think
heard
Megan
supported.
supported that.
Okay. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Okay.
So we can handle the funding request next.
No, we
Oh, we
put it
still gotta
under
go
funding
through.
request.
We still,
There must be something.
we'll be
Figure out
quick.
that agenda.
We'll be
Agenda
quick.
You got the 6 o'clock agenda. There you go.
Okay, can I have the approval of the agenda as amended, please?
Make a motion.
Greg,
Isn't that what we just did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
did we?
Yes, we just did.
Okay, sorry.
Sure.
Approval of the minutes from April 12th.
Motion to approve the minutes for the 12th,
I'll second.
both.
Just to
you
clarify,
wanna do
that's
them
for goals
separate?
and objectives. I think we have to do them one at a
Okay.
time.
Just for the goals.
Goals and objectives.
Golden objective, second.
And then approval of the regular minutes from the.
We got we need an all in favor on that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now, approval of April 12th regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So Carol, do you want to just go over the bills that we're going to pay? for
Sure.
This month?
It's short and sweet.
Yep.
First, I paid the AT&T bill, and then we had the credit card, and Washington Township, oh, that was a deposit. So out of the general account came the AT&T bill and the credit card bill for, looks like $35. And then, in the investment account, we made the deposit for Bruce Township. The regular account, Washington Township went in, but I'm going to transfer some money over to the investment account, so there's not as much money in the general account.
Okay.
Then payroll, we pay taxes, and one check to Lisa for the month of, not April, I think it was April. So what we have is $767.16 that I need approval for.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call. Lisa?
Parker?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Humphries?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Melvin?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, the second page is the breakdown of all the money that we got from everybody last year, so people can see how we estimated and how we came out with it. So we collected a little bit more money than we planned. That's a good thing. The other thing we need to know is that the 11.5 from the village is paid off now.
Right.
So we won't have that next year. And the final pages are just a detailed list of what went in each account. When you look at your budget in your categories, it'll tell you the actual that was spent. Well, this is a breakdown of that actual.
Okay.
So if you wonder what was spent in that category, it's there.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lisa, director's report?
Did meeting prep, did the meeting office work, took the mail to Carol, updates to the website, did the minutes, printing flyers for Talk the Walk, and you did a great job on the flyer. It looks great. I emailed, Amanda asked me to email her the contact for the Department of Treasury for the TIF reporting, so I emailed her that. Contacted Ian about a date for the install. For the end of the month, I haven't received a reply from him yet. And I did all this stuff for this month's, for these two meeting packets, posted the office, put on the website. That's what I've done.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, funding request. Bill?
We have a funding request from, do we have a name for the group? For the Jeep night on Tuesdays. I'd make a motion, we grant give the budget or do, or the funding request for $500 is requested.
You approve the 500 for?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll second.
And how much is it for?
500. We have a second by John Rose. Lisa, roll call, please.
Parker,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes?
Brandt,
Yes.
Humphries,
Yes.
Kuznanski,
Yes.
Tar,
Yes.
Malzahn,
Yes,
Hayes,
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. So who should we make the check out to? Did she put that on there?
Do you want it made out to Jim Reels, or how do you want it made out?
Who do we make the check out to?
Why don't you get back to us tomorrow or the next day on that? You can contact Carol or somebody.
You can get a hold of me, Nikki, if
Kelly.
you want to. Yeah, okay.
That is,
That's okay.
You weren't expecting
How
it.
they'll feel about, I mean, we can have it made to the pub and then go from there, that would
Right.
be fine. That way.
I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I echo John's statements. Thank you for bringing an event to this town. It's welcomed, yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
You can stay if you'd like.
Yeah, right.
Take care, guys.
While you lay in bed, snoring, right?
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Next, committee reports, the hiring subcommittee. The hiring subcommittee got together last Thursday, and we reviewed some openings, some postings through MML. There was a couple small towns up north that had a posting. Zach, do you want to lead that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I can. We kind of looked at a couple different similar municipalities, one being Ann Arbor, the other being Boyne City. They kind of varied in range, and we talked about the position, what we thought it would take to bring somebody to the table that was going to make it an attractive position. And that's where we came up with the 36,400, which, what did it, I don't.
Was
have my notes
it
from the
was
math.
35 hours at $20 an hour.
Okay, so, and that
Well,
would,
there's between, we gave a range between 30 and 35, not to exceed 35 hours.
right, so the conversation kind of became, it's either, we don't think it's a position that could be done, or that's going to attract somebody at 10 to 15 hours a week at the $15 an hour that we had originally posted prior to Lisa coming on board. So this is the higher end of the employment structure, I guess, to put it, where we think we could get somebody in the position to tackle it full speed ahead.
One of the things in this is, and it was on Christine's suggestion, and maybe you can talk about that, we did decide to do benefits with the health care, and you said that the village has an opportunity to, they co-pay.
no, the village doesn't, but
I
do.
mean the pers-
Yeah,
yeah.
I do at my business where, we just picked up a new employee, and she buys her insurance through the marketplace.
Okay,
And so we just pay her for that without actually having to have the
Okay.
policy in place, so.
So you
It's
reimburse.
an option, right, it's basically a reimbursement.
But what I do want to note here, we have to look at where this falls in the budget.
Right.
Because it's much higher than, it's almost twice as much as what we had been spending before on an employee.
but we
I
did
think the-
budget 22,000, and
Right.
Lisa had
Sure,
only
yeah,
cut, yeah.
not quite as.
Yeah.
If you work out 22,000 at 16 hours at $25 an hour, it's $22,000. Actually, it's $21,000. And I think unless we try and see if we can
Now,
give
at
ourselves
10%
45 days,
for taxes.
what we can try for, I would suggest for 45 days to see if we can get anybody qualified and put out the ad, and for a part-time, 16 hours a week.
So, figure,
Um, 16 hours at $25 an hour, it's $22,000. And I think,
so,
22,000 at 16 hours, it's $22,000. And I think,
10%
45 days, $20 to $25 an hour, I think we
pennies.
would get a qualified candidate. And until we try, we don't know. I don't
So-
think we need to spend the other money that you're talking about.
I think we need somebody in the office more than 16 hours a week.
Agreed. I was just gonna ask, is that what your intention is, Bill, 16 hours a week?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we have a lot of work
I-
available.
My input was along those lines. We kind of have to decide, do we want somebody in this position that's qualified, that can really help us move some of these ideas and projects down the road?
Yep.
It's not a 10-hour, 15-hour. If we want somebody less than that, just more clerical to kind of help keep some things organized, that's a different story. So I think the question we're looking at here is exactly that. Do we want somebody that can really
Implement our
Yeah,
goals
yeah,
that we're setting
take
here.
this card and really help us
So what
push
are you
it down
figuring
the
that
road?
an employee is actually gonna cost, John?
I can't hear you, Bill.
What do you think an employee is actually gonna cost us then by the time we're done with
If
benefits?
we put the 36.4 out, it's gonna cost us 42.5.
Right.
That's about
10%
of our
for
budget.
taxes, 3,600, and another 2,500 for bennies, because about $150 a month, 200. That's 42.5.
We'd fail miserably if we were a charity spending that much money on an executive director. You're talking about spending damn near 20% of our budget.
Well, our budget's
That's a
200.
$200,000 budget, Carol. 20% of it's $40,000.
Right, and that's what we did for years and years.
And perhaps we were really unwise in having done that.
I don't think so. If you want somebody in this position to really move this organization in the direction that we're talking about, you're not gonna get it on 15 and 16 hours a week.
Well,
Absolutely
Lisa,
not.
you would know.
Lisa, what's your input on
You
that?
you could easily spend more than 15 hours a week.
Heck, yeah, you could spend more than 15 hours a week, you could do 40 hours a week at this job,
Right.
with no problem, to
It-
really implement it and do it the way that it needs
Right.
to be done.
I just
mean,
did a
Th-
little
that's
bit
what
with the
the
chalk
question
this
is.
week, and that was 15 hours.
I think that's the question that I want to ask, is this what we want? If we don't want it, we can't afford it, then it's okay, but we have to, this is the time.
I understand that, John,
we
and
need
I-
to question that if
I totally
that's the
disagree.
position we need.
But that's obvious, so.
Well,
I've given my opinion.
I know you disagree with the money. Of course, I'm not happy about it either, but the question I'm asking is, do we want to move this DDA where more projects are gonna be getting done, are presented, and make it more of a viable board?
I guess I'd want
Or
to
are
see
we
what
gonna
we plan with this
maintain
budget.
words
Like,
to
if we
the-
don't
in the
really
fact-
have that many projects for this person to be doing, then why are we spending this money? If we get to the end of the budget and there's like, wow, there's 5 projects that need to be handled, then I suppose, and the money's still there, then this person will handle it.
Right, what are we doing with the 40,000?
Yeah, what are we gonna have them
instead? What are
handling?
we-
Well,
do they
Let's see what the
have-
budget will allow them to handle, plus their pay.
Right, you see, and then there were also some discussions along those lines, that there were some actual budget items that would, I'm not gonna say go away, they're still gonna be there, but they would offset. That we wouldn't spend them as, help me, a couple of the thoughts I'm trying to come up with were some of the advertising and the promotions and the time spent in doing that would transfer over
Well,
to
that,
this
and we've
position.
already got events, we've got our Christmas decorations, we've got our fall decorations and participation in a monthly event, and we've got our flowers. So that's 3 big things for the person to take on.
But they're done.
Plus, we've
Yeah,
got
but
a DIA project coming in here.
But those are budgeted projects.
They won't be on board by then. That'll be done by the time we hire somebody and get them in here, the DIA.
Right, but they're gonna have to deal with it.
But we also talked about the importance of community engagement, right?
Right,
Somebody
and-
who is willing and able to take time to go in and out of every business, to engage with the business owner, to say, how can we help you? What do you need as a business owner in this field or in that field? So that we can come up with some other ideas on how really to get the flow of communication, way better than what it is now. We know that it's lacking. Even the time that it would take really to develop a decent contact list of who owns the buildings and what is their name and phone numbers, so that we know who to reach out to.
And
It will
who's the
take some time.
boss?
Well, the one thing that is my concern is that the position is something that we're going to be revisiting this year in and year out. Even at 36.4 as a starting pay, I mean, you'll get some interest, but if we think we're gonna get this person who's just gonna knock our socks off for 36 grand a year, I think we're fooling ourselves. I don't think that's necessarily gonna get you the person that you think it's gonna get you, that's gonna be pounding the pavement and putting together these databases.
But that's up to us to implement that with her in her job description and have reviews and go over that.
Sure, but I mean, people look good on paper and nothing really comes of it. I mean, we had, you know, prior to Lisa, I mean, I think we had somebody we all thought was a good executive director, and it just fell short. It kind of put us into the position that we're in right now.
Right.
We never worked our way back. So, I mean, I don't want us to think that this is going to solve all of our problems and that we.
No, but we can also contact counselors at the college and look for candidates that are going for marketing degrees or entrepreneurial degrees. And these people would be interested in doing that, or city planning.
For a year or two, and then they're moving. It's a stepping
Well,
stone.
no, if they get involved with it, you know, maybe
If
we
they're
could
really
give
good,
them
they're
a
gonna move
little
on really
10%
quick.
raise or something.
Yeah, I disagree.
I think you're kidding yourself if you think you're gonna
I
keep
think we're
anyone here
looking for even a
long-term.
retired person, someone who.
If they show any promise at all, they're gone to a much higher paying job.
Some of the other contractors, if they're a mess up in 2 months, can we remove them?
Is a motion inappropriate? Kelly,
Well, you can go ahead and make it. See-
I'd make a motion that we advertise for someone for 16 hours a week at a pay to not exceed $25 an hour.
So 16, 25.
Is there a second?
I'll support it.
Roll call, Lisa?
Parker,
Yes.
Poznanski,
No.
Malzahn,
No,
Tar,
No.
Hayes,
No.
Rose,
No.
Humphries,
No.
Brandt,
No.
Stevens.
No.
Motion fails.
Do we want to put this on hold until we get to go back through the budget?
I want to see our budget first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the belief that it's either what we typed up at, for this position as presented, or it's not a position.
right,
Or
and I
it's-
think that you have
it's-
to make your
we-
budget fit around this,
Right.
right?
Or-
Right, you make your budget accommodate this.
Or you say it's not a board that needs an executive director. You're getting somebody like Cindy
Yeah.
Wilson to take your minutes and to prep the agenda the same way they do for the other boards. I think it's gotta be something that it looks like this, or we make the decision to not have it at all.
For the record, I agree with that, exactly with Zach. That's kind of what I was trying to say, was either this, or there's not that position, and we all have to, you know, put the cart on our back and push it down the road.
And I think that if you try, you can get an attractive candidate for what I made the motion for. And if you don't wanna try, you don't wanna try.
I will say that before, I know the parameters were, it was a little different, but aside from Lisa's application, there was only one other
I remember you
applicant
saying that,
before.
yeah.
So we only had 2 people apply for the job before, just for reference sake.
But was it initially at $15 an hour?
It was $15 an hour.
Right.
yeah.
I think you're gonna have to pay
But it was
more like
also-
what I suggested, and I think you'll get somebody.
I'm not debating the amount you're paying, I'm debating the hours you're asking. I don't think 16 hours is gonna give us anything. I think we might as well just continue as ourselves as board members, maybe try to up our time a little bit and get these what we are getting done, the flower committee done, I guess, as I've heard,
The
heard
DDA.
it mentioned before, we can do that ourselves. I just think it's
Kelly?
Have we
more
done
hours.
How many hours do you work a
other
week?
salaries for this position? Did I miss that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did
We-
touch on that. We didn't give figures. I mean, Ann Arbor was.
$150,000.
Yeah, but Ann Arbor's not like us.
Boyne-
Boyne City,
City.
which is
Yeah.
3,600 residents. They do have that small downtown with the
Yeah.
waterfront. They were offering 50,000.
Now, but what about their TIF funds? Do you know how much they collect for that?
Well, Ann Arbor, of
No,
course,
not
yeah.
Ann Arbor.
No, for Boyne
Because Bill
City.
brings up an interesting point. It'd be nice to know, just out of curiosity, what does Oxford collect versus us versus Boyne City? I think that should be pretty easy
Is
to
that
find.
something to find? I have no,
think
is that
so.
posted, Carol?
TIF revenue?
TIF
Do you know,
revenue?
Lisa?
Through the state of Michigan?
No, I don't know right off the top of my head.
Well,
Makes the
is
phone
our
calls.
information public?
Good grief.
Yeah, it's all.
Has to be.
All about competition.
Does it hurt to ask other communities what they're paying for, if there are other TIFs in Macomb County or adjoining communities? Almont has one.
I will be,
Lisa,
Yes, Elmont has a,
how
Elmont
much
has
are
a
they paying their
DDA.
director?
What's that?
Do you know what they're paying their director?
No, I do
How about Armada
Is
or
it Port
Utica?
Huron?
not. I don't think Armada has one.
Oxford?
I don't believe Utica has one.
Utica does have a DDA.
I want to say Oxford, if I remember right, Oxford had a
Elmont
job
has one.
opening not too long
Yeah.
ago, and it was between 40 and 50, if I remember correctly.
Oh, they did just do a
Yeah, they
posting.
did
It was
have one.
$50,000,
Oxford had one that
yeah.
was between
So-
40 and 50.
Elmont,
So we're gonna
Armada,
blow 25%
they have
of
one.
our budget to have a director?
I don't think it's blowing it.
Yeah.
I think it's
wonder if
investing in
Armada
this
does, 'cause they do.
organization.
Well, they just did it
To
at one
hold
of
that-
us,
with
and
that
then
down
they
this
do
road before.
the Sweetheart event. Then they
We'll
do
hold this discussion
Armageddon,
until we do go through our budget.
and then
Right.
there's
Need a
another one
motion,
they
or what do we
do. They
do?
do
No,
a Christmas
We don't need a
one.
motion?
We're gonna move on to unfinished business.
They're the
Do you
ones
want a
that do
motion
it.
on this, or
Let's-
did you
let's-
say you're tabling it?
We're tabling it until we go to the budget.
Okay.
Or if you guys
Somebody
want
does have to make a motion.
a
to
motion
table
on
it.
this, okay?
I'll make a motion to table the hiring subcommittee report until, the discussion until after we
Get our budget.
restart our budget conversation and have a final decision on that.
Yeah, how long can you keep going with
I'll support.
How long can I keep going?
Carl supported that.
Okay.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
That's right.
Okay. All right.
it?
The
Sooner than later.
light conversion project update. So, it's my understanding we're just looking at changing out the light bulbs in these poles, correct?
That was the original intent, was to change out the lights. And we did an audit, there's 90, some of them, 95. But the price that we were quoted was not for the downtown, it was for the residential streets.
Right.
Two totally different, I don't know where the communication gap came in. So when I went back to him and I said, all right, all I need is the light bulbs changed downtown and our black lamp poles. And then his quote came back at the 44, where's that number at in here? 43,000. If you just want the light bulbs. And then I said, okay, well, what if we want to change the globes? Because the globes are discolored. Or what if we wanted to retrofit them with a whole new style? If we can't replace the whole poles, which was $300,000 or $400,000 for that project, what if we change the heads, which is, so that's 180,000.
I
So
like what
There's a
John-
couple of options, you know, in that packet that you see where they're more of a hooded, with something that sits on top, so that we're not wasting so much light that's going up, something that's more, I would like to see actually something that sort of hangs over, more like a gooseneck kind of lamp that really has the light coming down on the sidewalk where
But we
you
don't-
need it, but.
We don't
I
have
you know.
$180,000 to do that, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's more than what we had talked
Right.
about. Even if we were to do it as a joint project, I would have to take it back to council to have their approval. And then we also talked about, well, geez, the lamp posts themselves look terrible. They need to be all repainted, they're faded, they're scratched up, they're scraped up from all the plants and the banners that have been on there. And so if we were gonna look at changing out just the bulb heads, maybe we also wanna consider
Painting.
repainting them.
Painting them, yeah.
As part of that original $40,000 or $44,000 budget.
as John had mentioned, those globes look awfully dirty.
Yeah.
Is there a way to clean those before they put that in?
No, not really. Part of them are just discolored from the gases that come out of those bulbs, from age, from, just light. So you can change them all, or change none of them, and you have what they are. Just because you change the bulb, thinking that everything's gonna be light, if the bulb is yellow, it's
Right.
still not gonna look like it's consistent lighting through
The
town.
globe, you mean, yep.
So, and I'm sorry if I missed this, if you just stated this, we had talked about, of the 95, some of them had already been changed.
Yes, so that's what I sort of questioned, and they never gave me an answer.
Okay, oh, we didn't get
Like,
an
how
answer,
many
okay.
do you really have to do right now?
Right.
Because as they get knocked down or burned out, they're already making them LED, because it costs them too much to do the old incandescent ones, so a number of them already are changed.
I can't believe they can't go through and just clean the globes as they change out the bulbs. I mean, there's bugs and crap in those things.
Well, I'm sure wiping them down might be something that they're going to do, but, they're not going to clean them like wine glasses.
Well, why not?
What about that stuff they had on TV for sale? Changes cloudy into clear,
OxyClean?
car lights.
I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do it. I mean,
I started
it
looking
can't
at,
be beyond repair or beyond
right,
cleaning.
yeah.
Get
But
one and
will they-
experiment on
but
it.
that's not
Until
in raw
Rockwell looks
orange.
at them and physically tells us what we can and cannot do with them, the only thing that makes sense is to change out the bulbs and then wait for their report.
Okay.
And this is nothing
Do
we're
you
making.
really wanna spend more than the $80,000?
So if we change out the bulbs, and then we decide later on to change the light fixture itself, do
Is
those
that a
bulbs have to
problem?
be changed? Like, will those bulbs still work in that,
Will they fit?
They have to retrofit our lamp posts right now to convert them all to LED.
right?
So those
Whatever
LED,
covers them ultimately, a globe, or a new globe, would still have the same converted bulb in it.
Right, so that
Right.
process wouldn't have to be replaced a second time.
I wouldn't think so, but I guess I didn't ask that question, I don't know why that,
I'd
right.
assume as long as the new globe fit over it,
Right.
you would, that might limit maybe some choices, but I think we'd be
So-
okay.
Yeah, okay, just,
so for right now, we're looking at just replacing the light bulbs for this year.
Yeah, when we go and look at the budget, right.
I
Well,
mean,
that's
again,
already been
somebody can
budgeted.
inventory them and say,
Well, we've already budgeted for this,
right.
yeah.
But we haven't approved.
We can,
It's-
we can go back to Rawhorn and say, okay, we want you to change out all the LED bulbs, and we want you, we're gonna allocate an extra amount of money. If there's one bulb that's yellowed, or one globe that's really yellowed, we want you to go ahead and replace that. They're not all bad, but we know that some of them are, just,
But we don't know what the cost of that would be.
well, the globe itself is $1,800 for what we have now. Basically,
But we don't know how many that is.
right, we don't know how many.
Wouldn't that be a globe and the LED light?
I'd like to think that globe's not $1,800 if it's not.
It's closer to
Yeah.
19,
Clean and crisp.
18.95.
Right, I don't think that's
Yeah, but
18,
they're ancient.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they could be
Right,
1,800 bucks.
for one?
Yeah, they
Globe?
could be.
How come he's got replace existing LUM, what is that?
Retrofit is the bulb, and
Right.
replacing them, the whole head with the whole new
Is
globe.
$95 each, not 1,800.
No, it's
No.
No, there's 95 of them.
95 units.
Oh, okay.
There's 95 of them.
So,
Okay.
In the
we originally
downtown
budgeted
area,
45,000,
95.
right?
We have 95
we
light
could-
bulbs.
We
It's
could do that.
Oh, that's the whole Romeo Village.
$43,051.15 if they do nothing
No.
except
The
retrofit.
black
Downtown?
lamp posts, right.
Oh, I'm
Some
sorry,
of them
yes.
may be outside of the
Yeah, there's
DDA
a
district.
couple outside the
I'd have to inventory that. I don't know that they go all the way down to Dairy Queen.
So it's more than or less than
Yeah,
40,000?
there's one towards Benjamin, but it doesn't, there's none farther than Benjamin, and then there's
It's
one or
$1,800 for
two
those globes? I
across,
think
I'm gonna
that's
say the
ridiculous.
state police, there's one right there on the other side of the street.
There's one at the
Well, let's-
school. There's one across the street from the police station.
Well, since we
One by the
we
library.
budgeted 45,000, and doing our portion would only be, what, 22.5 on the light bulbs, right? Or something, a
If
little
you were
less.
still splitting it, right?
Right.
Unless you wanted to use the 44 that you already budgeted for and expand the project.
Yeah.
If you
but
want some of
18
those
includes
globes
the light.
replaced, then you still spend the 44.
So the globe would only be 14.
Is what I'm suggesting. It doesn't have to be 22.
See, it says here, removal of the thing, that's the globe, and install and purchase the new one with the LED. So that would be both of them.
So it's 12 cans.
The 19?
There's a
So
proposal
then
here
it's
with
only
two numbers on
14 for
it,
or something like that.
9043 or 179.
You still need the bulbs.
I don't see
it
what,
doesn't matter.
what's difficult to understand.
Right.
Do we have a motion to change the light bulbs and any globes that could possibly need change that would match?
Are we
Yes,
painting them?
and not to expend more than $50,000. I guess our share is 25.
No, our share is 45. The village, right? This was a $90,000.
No, it says 43.
It's a $43,000 project.
Didn't
now.
we budget 45,000 for
It was
this?
We did, that was
originally-
when the project was a different price
Okay.
point.
Uh,
Yes.
So make a motion to spend no more than $25,000 to retrofit the existing and replace the globes as needed. We can always come back and amend this if
That'll
it
give you
turns out
one.
to be more.
So you get one globe. Right, no, I'm just saying, if they're, for 44, if we're splitting it, that's $21,000, so
Right.
you would have,
How many do you think, 30?
that's what I'm thinking, 10, 15 at least.
Okay, so then let's make it, I'll withdraw that and I'll make it 35,000, not 25,000.
Didn't we already make?
Yeah, we did, at
motions to
45,000.
expend? So we just have to, don't we just have to then amend the original motion that we approved, because we.
Or we can vote on this.
Okay, that's fine.
Support.
So you're just doing like a not to exceed 35.
That's correct.
Yeah, because there's other things. It doesn't include the troubleshooting for wiring or any other wiring issues, so that could be, I don't know what
They'll tell
can be
us.
used for.
We can amend this as necessary.
All right, Lisa, roll call, please.
Parker,
Yes?
Wisniewski,
Yes.
Humphries,
Yes.
Tar,
Yes.
Melzon,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Not to exceed 25,000.
35. 35. 35.
35.
And that's just for lights
And any globes that,
and miscellaneous
I
globes.
can imagine
Right?
if they break
Yes.
a couple on the way, then we have.
We've agreed to spend a total of, between the village, $7,000.
Voting on things that we're
Maybe
supposed
there'll
to
be
vote
some
on
globes,
during-
maybe it'll be some wiring, who knows?
What's the difference?
But we can amend this.
It's a great
You're
question.
what
Let's
did you just ask?
Get the damn
Well,
contract signed and
There's
scheduled.
been times in the past where it's something that is also gonna be voted on at the village
This-
level, they abstain from voting.
Oh,
But
This
here's-
gets us onto the, getting it on the construction schedule, because certainly there,
well, hold on, Zach just brought up, when this is coming to council, should the two trustees, or the president and the trustee have abstained from this vote?
I just know in the past, sometimes you guys have abstained when it's something you'll also be voting on at the council level.
We already voted on the project, and we
Right.
already have the funding at the village level in
Okay.
this year's budget as well. So I'm not worried about that.
Right.
We're just basically changing the scope of work.
Right.
But the project itself was already earmarked and budgeted for.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's my comfort level.
Okay, the next was the DDA director position. I think we've already talked about that. Megan, do you want to talk about the I was so happy, because I was walking yesterday morning, and the lids were off of everything, and I woke up this morning thinking, oh my God, did somebody pick up all that chalk?
Yes, I did.
I know.
Yes, so yes, between last meeting and now, made up a flyer. Lisa printed some off. I was able to get out one day and get out to a few businesses. Carl helped me out, reached out to other people, and so did John. Went out this Friday afternoon, put out the chalk, posted on Facebook. People participated, it was nice. Went around, Carl ended up putting out balloons. We went half with the balloons.
No, I did it full. I mean,
He did it. He did them all.
It was a nice touch. I loved the seeing the clusters of
Yeah.
color that mimicked the chalk. It was a good chalk. Good chalk.
So we did
It was an exciting balloon.
balloons. I went around Sunday evening, took down the balloons, picked up the chalk. So with that said, so far, figuring how much we need for prizes, about $200 in prizes. So far, we have spent $355.28 between all the chalk. So our grand total so far, we're at $555.28. I'm thinking, considering how much chalk we put down, I have 3 full brand-new boxes still. I think we're still gonna need a little more chalk, at least a couple more boxes. So to be on the safe side, I'm gonna say, can we have a motion not to exceed $800? Any chalk that doesn't get used could be used for any other event, could be used for the same event next year. So that is the request.
Can we, I mean, do you think the businesses would be after, I think, because we talked about that before, maybe the first bucket the DDA pays for, and as more chalk's needed, if the businesses want to keep it going, they can purchase more chalk from Carl if they've got it down at Vera's, and that way the DDA's not putting out all the money for the chalk. The businesses can go purchase them retail and.
I saw
Then
some
you'll have
pretty
some
damn
that
good
do.
kids and
Donated
parents out there
prizes?
yesterday when we were out walking.
No, I wasn't asking anybody to give any money, given last year and most people being shut down, I wasn't asking people.
And I
So
think
Carl
you've-
did donate a few gift certificates, but I wasn't asking
We're
for
looking
them.
for a supplemental motion or for a motion?
She's looking for a motion to approve $800.
Not to exceed, I don't,
Not
I
to
just
ex-
wanna have Scotia room, so I
I'll
don't have
make
to
a
come back
motion
again.
not to exceed $800 for the Chalk the Walk
I'll second.
project.
Does
A
that,
second.
does that amount cover what Stephanie will need?
Stephanie, I already purchased her chalk, it's in what we've spent
So
so
it
far.
covers?
Yeah.
I think because you've already advertised this like this, you can't go back and
No.
ask people to pay
give
for
me more
chalk.
chalk. I mean, if it goes well and next year we could do that, but I just don't wanna be asking
Mm-hmm.
businesses for money right now. And the whole point was to generate people in the town and, getting the gift certificates into their hands so that they would go into the restaurants and all the different merchants. So,
and just a note, I don't know if it was because of your chalk event, but we were extremely busy.
Cool. And it was a beautiful day.
Mhm.
So there's a motion.
There's a motion on the floor for the 800, not to exceed the 800.
Greg supported.
Oh, Greg supported, okay.
So did Carol, but
Lisa, roll call, please.
Okay. Parker,
yes.
Tar,
Yes.
Kuznanski,
Yes.
Malzahn,
Yes?
Rose,
Yes?
Humphries,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay. All right, I think now we'll go back to reviewing the budget.
We need to adjourn this meeting.
We do?
Yeah, it's the regular meeting.
All right, do we have board member comments?
Real quickly, Zach, is this a good time to bring up some of the stuff we discussed on the parking walkthrough, or?
You know, I think we should do it during the budget, because
Okay.
it'll be more like the brick and mortar project
Yeah.
stuff.
John, did you get a copy of the paper survey from the county? Did Debbie bring that over to you? From,
The little cards to
Yes.
put out? Yeah.
oh, you did get them? Because I wasn't in the office, I was.
Yeah, she brought
Okay.
a stack, yeah, we've been
Did we hand
handing.
any out?
I've given quite a few
Okay,
out.
okay.
Was I the only one who got them? Was I supposed to take them elsewhere? Oh, that wasn't clear.
Well, and I tried to convey that to her.
I've been giving them to customers.
Well, that's okay, you have enough.
I didn't take them to other businesses.
That's fine, because most of the people that answered this were businesses.
Oh, okay, I thought she was taking them around.
Okay,
Most of them are gone.
that's good.
However, I don't know how many
All
she
right.
brought me.
Okay. So do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Special.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You're adjourned.